I'm Jenny Lauren Dowden for Conduit News, and today we have Andy Dilatush with us. He is a Tyson employee. He has been with Tyson for over 30 years, and today he's going to talk to us about the vaccine mandate implemented by Tyson.
Hi, Jenny.
Hi, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for inviting me.
Listen, this goes back all the way to, you were telling me in February, whenever Tyson started talking about testing their employees. Just walk us through what the timeline has been for you.
Sure. Last year in 2020, Tyson implemented a testing process for all the people, all of our team members at our plants, where if you have symptoms, you have to be tested for COVID. If you've been around somebody that has it, you have to be tested. But then they have a sentinel program where they randomly, there's some algorithm that they randomly will test everybody at the plants for COVID. And then in February 2021, they implemented it at corporate. And so I came in from, I guess it was the ice storm, came in from the ice storm, and they had a sign on all the corporate doors saying, if you enter these buildings, you consent to be part of the Sentinel testing program. Well, I won't be tested. I'm not sick, but I need to be tested. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, they allowed me to continue to working from home. And I guess that was until June, where they implemented a new travel policy. Basically, it's very much like the CDC's travel guidelines. If you travel for business, you must be vaccinated. Don't like using that word. You must take the COVID injection.
Right.
You can test before you go. When you return, you have to self-quarantine and then test again when you return. Well, because I have sales in my title, they said the whole self-quarantine testing wasn't an option. I had to be vaccinated. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, that was in June, I'd made the decision I wasn't going to do that. So I made the decision, I'll just retire. I have enough years, enough age that I can do that. And they said, don't do that. Let's just see what we can do. Maybe we can work something out. And so since June, I'd been working from home with the expectation everything was going to be fine. Well, then they implemented the whole vaccine mandate and put me in a whole nother realm. I mean, now I've got to decide what to do because of the mandate. Well, I'm not going to take the shots. I'm not taking the COVID shots. And so they offered me an option. They said, you either have to take the shots, or I said, I'm not doing that, but I requested a religious accommodation.
And then what happened with that?
So I did that on, let's see, the first day they asked me for it, I submitted that. About 4 days later, they asked me for a little bit more information. So in my religious accommodation is pretty simple. It's
you were telling me that you submitted that.
I did.
And then they asked for more information.
They wanted a little more details to it. Yes. So my first said, I sincerely believe that taking the COVID vaccine will harm me and will violate my religious convictions.
And that wasn't good enough.
That wasn't good enough. And so I sent another one that said, I sincerely believe the COVID vaccine and the COVID test will harm me, because I won't do the test either, and will violate my religious convictions. I believe this violates the biblical command not to do anything that harms my body is a temple of the Holy Spirit.
And then what happened?
Well, for 3 weeks, I didn't know. And then 3 weeks later, I got HR called me, and I had a Teams call, video call with our HR director, and she said it was declined. I asked, what's the appeal process? She said, there is no appeal process.
Wow.
So at that point, I've been deciding, well, what do I do? What are my options?
So whenever you came back from the snowstorm and you saw in February that they were going to be requiring testing,
right?
What was your thought whenever you saw that?
It's a violation of my personal medical freedom, a violation of my rights. I mean, are they going to test people for the flu when they walk in the door? Are they going to test people for AIDS or HIV or a cold or any number of things? I mean, it's no one's business but my own what my health condition is.
And then when they turned down that religious accommodation, did that surprise you, or were you hearing that this was a possibility?
Well, actually, it did surprise me, because when I turned it in, and the call I had back said, we need a little bit more information. I thought, oh, that means they're leaning towards favorable. It's going to be something that I can do. But then when they said no, it's been declined and there's no appeal, I thought, wow, okay, now what? They did tell me there was options. They've created a new, it's called leave of absence plus. Basically, I can keep my payroll deducted benefits, but I don't have a job or don't have a salary for 12 months. At the end of 12 months, I could apply for another job if there's one that's open. If the rules have changed, the requirements have changed, anything's changed. So, I could hang out for 12 months. But in my opinion, I can have payroll deduction benefits with no payroll.
This almost feels like it's not even about the science anymore, and it's punishing those, discriminating those who choose not to go along with the mandate.
It is to a certain extent. I believe that there's as many doctors and scientists that I believe are legitimate that can tell you that the vaccines don't work if they don't prevent infection, they don't prevent transmission, they may lessen the effects of COVID, but that's not even more than about 3 or 4 months at best. And then you're at a higher risk because the viral load is so bad. And I don't get into the science because I'm not the scientist, but I just.
It seems as though there are enough questions to say, wait a second, let's not mandate this until we have all the facts.
Absolutely. And I'm going to just borrow a sheet of paper. So what I said is some comments that said, I might get COVID, I might get sick, I might even still transmit it, I might even die from it. Or I might take the injection, I might still get COVID, I might still get sick, I might still transmit it, I might still die from it. I might just take the injection. I may never get COVID. I may develop a chronic illness. I may develop disability. I may die from the injection. The only thing I have any control over is I'm fairly confident I have some control over whether I get COVID or not because I practice good hygiene. I get exercise. I sleep. I take supplements that boost my immune system. I eat right. Heck, I haven't been to the doctor in at least 3 years. I run marathons. I mean, I don't really feel like I need someone helping me get well. But if I take that injection, there's a 100% chance I have no control over the outcome of that injection.
Right. What would you want people to know at Tyson and at these other corporations where they are mandating these vaccinations? What would you want them to know?
They must stay strong. They've got to be encouraged because this isn't right. It's got to be stopped. It's not right for somebody to infringe on another person's medical well-being. Sad to say, it's all about money. I've had a friend of mine that told me he's got team members he works with that are 2 weeks away from bankruptcy because they're living from paycheck to paycheck, and so they have no choice. But I talked to a guy last week. He said, I wish I was as strong as you because I've got a family. I got kids in college. And it's not that I'm strong. It's just maybe I'm stubborn.
Have you heard from other people at Tyson who are in the same position as you are, but maybe they're afraid to speak out?
Yes. I had talked to a guy that's again, he's not speaking out like on an interview or something like that. He has told his supervisor he's not going to take the shot, but he eventually gave in. Was basically coerced or not. Because so that's another thing that I don't agree with is using coercion, threatening your job, but they're also paying money to people that do take the shot. So if you've taken at least one injection, you're in for a sweepstakes. I mean, they're basically bribing people to put this stuff in their body. It's madness to me.
So our state legislature will be coming back on Wednesday. A lot of people want them to take up COVID-related legislation to protect these employees who are having to deal with the mandate, as well as against the employers who are imposing this. What would you like to see our legislators do?
I think that they need to stand up for the citizens of Arkansas and protect our rights as individuals. The Constitution doesn't grant me any rights. It simply acknowledges the rights that God gave me. It's my decision on how I take care of my body. It's my decision on where I go to church, if I go to church. It's my decision on where I live, where I work. I just don't want someone infringing on my rights as an individual.
Anything else that you would want people to know that we haven't covered?
If this is allowed to happen, I keep going back to what's next. I mean, what are we gonna? Are they going to pick everything every aspect of my life? Am I going to be able to shop if I don't take a shot? Am I, already there's concerts you can't go to if you like to go to concerts. Am I going to be able to go to the bank? Am I going to be able to go to the grocery store? I mean, what's next? What are they going to stop next? And then the financial, the economy. I mean, there's going to be probably thousands of Tyson team members that are not going to have a job after October 1st and November 1st are the two deadlines. What's going to happen then?
Right. Well, we are so grateful that you decided to take a stand. I know it's not easy, but we are thankful for you, and just keep us posted on how
Sure.
things play out. And we hope to have you back in soon.
Sure. Thanks, Jenny. I appreciate it. I just hope things turn out better.
You too.